Okay, we're moving on to page 5 here. So here we go. These pages are, this paper is so pretty, you guys. Just a reminder, I've already distressed all my edges of my paper with the Vintage Photos Distressed ink from Tim Holtz. Great. Love this stuff, you guys. You notice a sparkly bracelet. Have my glue, and we're going to move right along. And I've already punched all my stuff with this beautiful scalloped border. It kind of takes this paper and it just gives it that vintage, old, beautiful, romantic look and feel to it, along with the inking of the edges. Okay, so we are on page 5, I believe, and I have all my pieces here of my cut paper that we already had from my super cool idea for cutting the paper. And let's get started. Okay, so we first have our pocket. We're going to go ahead and adhere our pocket on the left hand side here. So let's go ahead and trim off our corners. We do that every time. Let's get our pieces, our score folds in there. Let's give them a good burnish. We'll do this long one last. Give them a good burnish. This pocket piece was 9 by 2.5. We scored it on a 1/2 inch on all sides, and then we did our border on there. Okay, so because I don't have any, our base page is 8 by 8, remember, so right now it doesn't matter what side I start with to put this down. So we're going to scribble, you know all about the scribbling. I'm going to go ahead and put my pocket down just that one side there. Press it down with your fingers first. Give it a good burnish with your tool. Then we're going to do the legs of our pocket right here. Fall is definitely in the air. It's absolutely beautiful. You're going to close that up. And remember, we're going to push it down with our fingers, and then we have this great plastic that we're going to slide right in there, and then burnish right on top of that. I need to wash my tool. It's like got lots of glue on it. Burnish those down. Make sure it's on there good. Set those aside. We have a right flap that is going to go on the right, and we're going to center it on there. So this was 8 1/4 by 6 1/4, and I'm first going to do the score lines. And on this one again, I already put my photo mats on there to save some time. It's going to go on the right, and we're just going to center that on our paper. Let's trim off just our little nicks here. I kind of I don't know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but cutting off those nicks is kind of something that I've done for a long time, and sometimes some places you need it and some places you don't, so if you just do it all the time, then that's just super cool. Okay, so again, if I get my hair in there, I apologize, folks. I gotta push this over here. Okay, so we are just going to center that as best as we can. Again, gosh, do not panic if it is not perfect. Push it down with your fingers, open that up, burnish that down, and that's our page. Now for the decorative paper. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Again, this is 7 by 6, and you will find that when you cut your paper with the guide that I gave you to cut your paper. Here's my just scrap paper I'm going to put underneath there so I can so you can see how that goes. This was, yeah, 7 by 6. Scribble, 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 scribble. Going to lay that on there, center it the best you can. Get your bone folder, push that glue out to the edges of it. It's so cool. This is such pretty paper. I just can't even believe it. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. I don't want that over there. These photo mats, I again will give you in the instructions what size to cut, but this is like a 4 by 6. And then there's just a little journaling piece that I have. You can put another 2 photo mats on here, but I've just got a little journaling piece, or you can just do a normal photo mat. We have our piece that's going to cover our base page, which is 6 by 7 3/4, and it's just going to fit right in there. So let's, whoops. This is one of those papers that when you cut it, this is the side of the color of the paper that I have you cut it, and it tells you to use the other side. So you will, again, that's, hopefully you've got that from cutting your decorative paper already. I kind of think it's cool. I guess you guys give me some thumbs up or some likes or comments, you know, to be able to have everything cut ahead of time, and then just kind of watch and assemble it with me. You know, obviously when I'm not doing a tutorial, I'm making an album, I don't really do that. But when you're on a tutorial and you're watching, I think it's nice if you can have all the cutting instructions ready for you, so you can have that, excuse me, so you can have it ready, and then it's easier for you to put the pages together. Okay, so then here we're going to cover our pocket, and this is 7 3/4 by 1 3/4. And this, again, this is another one that this was the side of the paper up when you cut it, and I said to use the other side. You could sure use that blue if you wanted. To me, that's quite a bit of blue, but you could. That's up to you. You know, there's nothing right or wrong. I tell my mom all the time, is like, you know, there's whatever you choose is right. It's how you feel about it, and that's how life goes. I'm also a quilter, and I think the same thing about quilting. I mean, it's you decide what fabric you want, what pleases you. Okay, give that a good burnish, and there we go. This is just so beautiful. One of my coworkers is heading to the Oregon coast, and I was showing her pictures of this, and she was like, oh my gosh, it reminds me of the Oregon coast. So let's put that one aside. That's 5. We're moving right along to 6. This is, oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite pages. They're all my favorite pages, I guess. I don't know. So we're on page 6, and we have our base page. We have a flap that's going to go to the left that is going to have a pocket on top of it, a big deep pocket, and on the back of that it will have a small pocket. Okay, so let's put on our pockets first before we do anything. And again, so this is 9 by 6 decorative edge, scored a half inch all the way around. Whoops, that was kind of a crooked cut. And cut our corners off. Let's look what I do with my tool there. Fold over on your score lines. I know some people do tutorials on the fly. I just am not comfortable doing that, because I want to make sure that I use your paper that you're going to buy to make this beautiful album and make it and use it to the best of its ability. Again, I'm so excited that this album has 12 pages plus a front, inside, and back inside cover pieces. That's a lot for just 2 packs of paper. So I wanted to give you a good bang for your buck. Okay. Whoops, that was not straight at all. So Halloween's coming up. Halloween, the cutesy part of Halloween is one of my very favorite holidays. I just love it. We don't get a lot of trick-or-treaters, so that's kind of a bummer these days. That was always the highlight. Okay, so I'm just, again, doing my same thing I do with every pocket that we do. So when you take my tutorials, as a general rule, most of our pockets, this is what we're going to do with. It's very seldom that we don't. Okay, so let's take this. This is our flap, 8 3/4 by 7. Your score pieces are over here. Let's go ahead and score those before we put our pocket on, so we know where we're at there. Remember that second score is just that little gusset that's going to help you put your keep your pictures in there nicely. Give that a score. Okay, so the big pocket goes on the front, so you're going to have your flap on the left, and we're going to put the big pocket on the front, just like that. So let's glue down the bottom piece. Ah. Scribble. I have to turn mine a little bit. Remember, we're always going to match up the outside first because that's what people's eyes are drawn to. I love it when we only glue down this part. I'm sure if you've made any albums and you tried to put all 3 layers or throw all 3 sides on at the same time, to me, it just doesn't happen. I just can't get it to work. So this has been a really good thing for me. So we're going to glue our arms or legs, whatever you want to call them, or sides. Okay. And we're just going to pop that up. Remember, we're just going to push on with our hands just a little bit. Insert our plastic. Give it a good burnish on both sides. Get that glue squished out. Take that out. Okay. I know that black is so hard to see. There's your pocket right there. Okay, let's turn over and let's add our pocket to the bottom of the pocket. It's going to go on like that. You know, I've been making albums for, I don't know, 4 years, I guess, about 4 or 5 years. And as I've talked before, when I first started making them, I was like, oh my gosh, everything we did was hard. Excuse me, we're going to start over here and line it up over there. Everything we did was just tremendously hard. And my mom was bound and determined to make them, and I was bound and determined to say that after my first one, I was never going to make one again. And she kind of laughed. And then as I started doing a lot of research, I started finding some different cool ways to do the covers, to do the spine, and I did lots of different things before I've kind of fallen to what I'm doing now. And it's been really fun. It's actually very relaxing. I love getting the beautiful paper and putting it together and creating something. The best part of my albums is when I gift them. I make a lot, I gift a lot. To see the look on their eyes when they are receiving it and going through it and explaining how all the pages work. It's incredible. And so my goal is always be the coolest gift at the baby shower or the coolest gift at the wedding shower. Excuse me, I take a drink there. Okay, now we have that built. And you know what's cool sometimes is sometimes we can go ahead and put our paper, in this particular one, we're going to go ahead and put our paper on first because it'll be easier to do. This is so cool, you guys. It is really, really cool. And I want to make sure that I do not mess this up. Okay. This piece of paper right is going to go right in here. I love lighthouses. A few years ago, my husband and I went on the Oregon coast, and we went and we saw several of the lighthouses. And next year, we're going to go back and take a trip down the Oregon coast, and I'm excited to see them again. So this is 7 3/4 by 4 inches. This size is beautiful too. But if you put it in there, well, I guess you wouldn't lose your birds, but I want the lighthouse to show. So as you're making this album, and I've already got all the pieces, determined for you, and you turn over and you like the other side better, then, by all means use it. There's nothing wrong with that. So to each their own. That's the cool thing. That's the cool thing in the stressful thing about using double-sided paper, because you're like, well, maybe I should use that piece. Okay, we got a good burnish. Sometimes I like to do this, put the paper on before I build it. Not all the times, but sometimes on pages like this, because it's easier not to have them put on there like that. Okay, I just want to make sure I have my right pieces here. Okay, let's turn over the front for a second. This is really cool, you guys. How I have this cut is just amazing. This is 7 3/4 by 5. That piece is going to go right there, and that's just part of the lighthouse right there. And it says, you can find yourself where the wind meets the water. That's me. I am a sea, Caribbean, beautiful ocean. I love the ocean. I love the sound of the ocean. It makes me relaxed. I really like it. Okay, so we're just going to center that on there. Got a good burnish. Not pretty. Here's the cool part. This is the page. So we have our pocket right here. And so we need to cover this piece right here. This is so cool. So the piece that I have you cut for this is 7 3/4 by 2 inches. And when you put that in there, look at that. It just keeps your lighthouse just right on going. I think that is so stellar. That kind of was by accident, by the way, but when I figured it out, I thought that is so cool. All right. So this is just, oh, I can't get my fingers in there. What is going on? So this is just going to go underneath our big pocket, just a hair. And that's a cool thing about the glue, because you guys, it gives you the opportunity to, move it around. Look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That is so, so incredibly cool. And this is on the other side. Now I just have to remember which one's going where. These are the exact same. Oh, no, this is a little bigger. Okay, so this piece right here is 7 3/4 by 1 3/4, and that is just going to go right on there. Again, this is a piece that when you cut it, it'll tell you to use the other side. So there is a side with seashells on it, or there is this side with the map. I kind of like the seashell ones. I think I might do that seashell, because there's a big, can you see that right there? That's perfect. But guess what? I don't have my edges inked for that one. So let me quickly do that. So I changed my mind. I'm going to use this seashell one. So, when I am just making an album for myself, I wait till the very end to figure out all my paper to put in my pockets, because I told you I make a lot of pockets and things like that. What I did in this album is I designed it, did all the paperwork, and then went back and cut all these out to determine what's going to go there. I like that better. So this is what I had set for that. But on the other side is this shell. So I'm going to do that. I'll make a note. I'll try to remember to make a note. But when you come to this part of my video, you'll see and you'll be able to turn it over and use it if you so choose. This is kind of like putting a puzzle together when you get all the pieces, the size of pieces for you. Get a little bit glue in my hand there. My mother is with my sister-in-law right now, and they are crafting away without me, which is kind of sad. Okay, so here's our base page. And we are going to put on, gosh, I can't even see my own score line. So we're just going to cut our little, just our little nicks there, just like we always do. I tell you, I'm going to get a jar to put all my little nicks in because I think that's funny. We have not yet figured out what size, we've not done anything on here, so it doesn't really matter because this is an 8 by 8. So again, we're going to put that on there to center it to the best we can. We're going to scribble our glue. We're going to put down there. Put it with your fingers to make sure that it looks good. Okay. I'm going to put the lid on the glue for just a minute here. Burnish that good. Oh, you know what? Oh. No, 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 no. It's a good thing this glue is not dry yet. This needs to go all the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. All the way to the bottom. Let me re-glue this. Re-glue this. All the way to the bottom. Good thing I was kind of realizing what I was doing there. Okay. That's why when you use glue, that's what you're able to do. You can lift it up pretty quickly. You don't have too long, but when you use tape, you have no time. None whatsoever. Okay. Look at that. Is that not so cool? Okay. Now on this page right here, we are going to put 2 photo mats on there. And these photo mats are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and they're going to go right on there. And then this piece right here that is like rope, the hemp rope, is going to go at the top. Again, this is one of those pieces that say use the other side. So when you cut it, this piece is cut, and then you just make a sticky note, and you're going to put it on the other side. So I kind of, when I'm doing this, my matting and my mats, I kind of lay them down like that, and then I go ahead and start putting them together. If you don't, sometimes you might get them crooked, which is okay too. I always want to tell you guys, nothing is perfect. And, if somebody wanted a handmade gift and they think that it's going to be perfect, I just don't think they like that. I mean, they can go to the store and buy something. So this just gives you an idea as to where to put it down. And this one down next to it. You can go back, you guys, with a micron pen, and I prefer brown because I edge most of my stuff in brown. And what you can come up here and do is right on here, place photo here, and then you can put the size of the mat so that when they go to put a photo on there, like this is a 4 by 6 photo, obviously this photo is too big for here, but if you tell what size it is, and they know what size to trim it to. If it's a very special person, you can give them a little trimmer to go with it. You can get sometimes you can get those pretty inexpensive. You can or you can or you can also get them the little black corners to go with it. So there's a lot of things that you can do to help people do it. If you're really nice, you can say, give me your photos and I'll put them in for you. Ha ha ha. Although it would be kind of fun to do that. Okay, so I just put that on with my fingers. And also leave a comment. Do you guys like the videos about an hour long? Would you rather, are you okay with me having, you know, maybe 5 or 6 videos at about an hour, or long, you know, 2 or 3 at 2.5 hours or so? I just think it's nice to have shorter ones so you can, so you don't have to scroll so far back and forth if you need to. So look at that, you guys. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is perfect. Look at that. That is perfect. Okay, that is page 6. We're just moving right along today. Now, 7 has a lot of pieces to it. So I don't want you to panic. I want you to just take a deep breath, and we're going to work through this one. Now, this one, we're going to go ahead and build just our page together and not put any papers on it until we get it all built. So I am just going to put my papers aside here. I'm just going to put them over here. See how many pieces there are to this one? There's a lot. I'm telling you, there's a lot. So don't panic. There's a lot. We have our base page. We have a pocket that's 9 by 3 inches, scored at 1/2 inch all the way around, deco punched at the top. I have a baby pocket, a small pocket. Same thing, it's 7 1/4 by 2.5, scored halfway around, edge punched. I have a bottom flap. I have a top flap. Excuse me, the bottom flap is 6 1/4 by 6. The top flap is 6 1/4 by 5.5. It is scored. Both of these pieces are scored with a quarter inch score up here, as opposed to our 1/8 inch score, because this is going to be on top and there's going to be some layers underneath there. And then we have some flaps that are going to go onto the left. We have a middle flap at 7 by 5, and then we have another flap that's 6.5 by 5, and we're going to have a 1/4 inch gusset in there as well, because this is going to go on top of this one. So we have a lot going on in there. Okay, so we are going to first put on our flaps. Well, you know what? Let's trim our pockets first. Let's get our pockets prepped. I always kind of like to do that. So I'm going to trim my pocket corners off. I'm just going to fold those back. So you guys should be a pro at your pockets by now. You know, there's so many people out there that make some incredible albums. I tried to mix it up. Again, we've got some incredible people. Frances from Your Book of Memories, who's on the design team as well. I just adore her personally. I think she's just a hoot and a holler. And she does some incredible albums. Shelley's albums are always so elegant and beautiful. The very first album I made of Shelley's was with Heartfelt Creations paper, which then I fell in love with Heartfelt Creations. And I bought tons of Heartfelt Creation paper to make albums with, and have made several. That paper is also very beautiful. You can find that at J&S Hobbies as well. They have quite a bit. Okay, so here's our 2 pockets prepped. We're going to set those aside. So let's put our left flaps on first. So we're going to take the flap that says the middle flap. Okay, it's a little bit bigger than the top flap. So let's go ahead and fold on our score lines. Fold on the score lines. And this is just going to go, again, this one's really going to go in the middle. This is really going to go in the middle. Whoops. Let me... Put our glue on there. And we're just going to kind of center it in there. I know this is hard to see the black paper what I'm doing, you guys. Just going to center that on there. Burnish that down. Remember how that burnishes helps push that glue out? I'm going to just score that again on the score line. Okay, now this is our top flap. So our top flap has the 1/4 inch gusset on it. So that is a little bit easier. 1/4 inch gussets are quite a bit easier to fold than the 1/8 inch. We're going to do that. This we're going to glue on the inside of this because do our little cuts here. I promise I'll get a jar. I will get a jar to put all my clippings in and see how fast it takes us to fill it up. Because the reason this has a 1/4 inch gusset is it's going to wrap around this top page. See that? And it's going to wrap around to the back. So that will help. That 1/4 inch gusset is going to allow us to do that. So the best thing to do is push this one flat, come around, and we're going to put it on this way. And so this, when we go to put this one on, we're going to go and we're going to slide our paper up, and we're going to slide it up until we hit that first bump right there. And it's easy to do with this because you're going to be able to see that I have it even on there when I glue it, and now I'll be able to flip it over. Okay. Again, I try to think of some good, fun tips for you to help you guys build your albums. Okay. So again, I'm going to take, this is the back of my paper, and this is my flap, and I'm going to put that right up next to that first bump, that first score line. Make sure it's lined up how you want it. Let me see here. Yep. All good. Burnish that down. Now I have this great double flap here. Oops, let me see, did I get a camera angle there? Double flap. Okay, let's go ahead and put our pocket on right here. Make sure, yep. Put my pocket on right here. Again, we're old pros at this. That corner down there. I'm going to put that pocket on. Use your hands first, and then use your bone folder. I got this pocket off a little bit. See how easy I just picked that up, you guys? I had it off the paper. It's hard when I'm doing my tutorial because I'm not like in my own time frame and space, so I'm trying to help you do it more quickly than I maybe would. Okay, so let's go put our sides of our pocket, glue our sides of our pocket. Whoops, don't glue inside the pocket. That is not kosher pickle. You could glue the inside of your pocket. You wouldn't then have a pocket. Okay. My plastic's buried. I'm going to come in here with my plastic. Burnish those down. Burnish that down. That glue just squirt right out of there. That's exactly what we want to do. Okay. Okay, so we have now, this I believe goes right in here. I'm going to hang 10 before we put the little pocket on. I'm just going to hang 10 for just a minute. Okay, because I can't remember if it goes on one of our flaps or not. Okay, so here's my bottom flap. Again, this has a 1/4 inch gusset on it because this whole thing is going to go over this whole piece right here. Okay, so I'm going to score on my score line, or fold on my score line. Go to my 1/4 inch score line. Score that. So it's a pretty deep score. Here's my top. Same thing. We have a 1/4 inch score line. So when your pocket has lots of pages in it, then that's when you'd like to do the 1/4 inch gusset, because that will let you put your photos in there and not have it like bulky coming out of the seams. Okay, so again, we are going to this is page 7. We are going to put our paper to the back because we have our pocket on there. And I'm going to put it all the way over to the side, to the left side. So let's just trim our little corners. And again, this one we have to attach the glue to the inside of our flap, and it's going to go glue to the back of our paper. So you will glue right up to that first score line. I actually like putting my pages on, like paper on like that, on your flaps, because it's actually easier to see that score line. Okay, so this is my back. I'm attaching it to my back, going right up to that first score line. Make sure it's over there. Okay, I'm like, what did I make on folder? And that 1/4 inch gusset makes it come over the pocket. It makes it come over these things. Okay, comes over the pocket and over here. Okay, now we can put our bottom flap on. We're going to do the same thing. We are going to trim. Trim has a 1/4 inch gusset. I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to actually turn it this way. So this is the bottom of my page. And I'm going to add my flap. Going to glue it, and I'm going to bump it up right to that very first score line on there. You know, I don't like to make albums with craft paper, but you could probably be able to see the craft paper better if I do that. Okay. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Because I want to make sure I put it on this side. So this is the top of my page. This is the bottom of my page. That's where I'm going to glue this on. Right to that first score. Put that in there. Kind of do it with your finger. And you just press it, baby, with your finger. That's going to allow you to move it if you need to. And we are golden. So we are going to give it a good burnish. Okay, so this is our page. Now, if you haven't figured it out yet, guess what we're going to need on here? We're going to need a magnet. We're going to need a magnet on here. So, because I have the habit of putting my paper on and sometimes forgetting my magnet, we're going to put our magnet on right now. So we're going to get 2 more of our magnets. Remember, this will have a set of to do 5 pages, and I think I might have used all of them. I can't remember. Okay, so now we're going to put the magnet on here. And remember, we want about it a finger width away. So we're just going to kind of, let's just lay it down here about a finger's width away. Can you see that? Grab our score tape. And we're going to semi-center it. Finger width away if you can. Sometimes you don't have the opportunity to do that, because then we're going to put a piece of score tape above it and a piece of score tape below it. And you're like, how am I going to find out where this magnet goes? Piece of cake. Drop your magnet on top of your magnet. Take your trusty glue bottle and put glue on there. Okay, not quite that much. Okay, I'm going to have glue on there. I'm going to come in here a little bit And hopefully we'll stay in focus here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this page and I'm going to just turn it over in here and I'm going to close it and I'm going to press down with my finger where that magnet was at. Now last time I did this, the magnet stayed there, which I could not believe. Typically it doesn't. So typically what happens, you can see it makes a round ring. You see that? Okay. So when it does that, we're just going to pick up that magnet. We're going to put it right back on that. And boy, I'm like super duper close on my paper here. Super close. I'm going to go ahead and leave it, but that's really close. What happens when you get much closer than that, when you go to put your decorative paper down, it doesn't always catch on the edge, but I think we're just going to be okay on that. So I'm going to put a piece of tape over that. My little black things are getting in the way. And I'm going to put a piece of tape right above it. So you'll notice if it will fit because your 1/4" score tape goes right where my paper is going to go. So I think we're going to be okay. But just be mindful of that. And I'm going to put that there. Okay. Now, and I just kind of do this good scoring down on there because you want that to be flat. And then we're just going to test it, make sure we all look golden. Isn't that cool? Oh my gosh. I get so excited about these pages, you guys. I can't even take it. Okay, now let's start putting in some paper so I can figure out where my pocket goes. Let's start from the inside here. See, isn't this cool? This, when you give this to people, this is what I love. And they go to open it, they open it, they flip, and they're like, oh my gosh. Okay, look at this paper. Look at this piece. Holy guacamole. Schooner, sailboat, whatever you want to call it. Isn't that cool? This is 6 wide by 7 3/4. And let's throw my piece of paper over there. We're going to go ahead and look at the back side of it too. That's really cool. If you're not a boat person, then use the back side. You know, it's quite all right, which, you know, whatever one you want to use. But I like boat. And again, I'm going to have to trim this a little bit, you guys. So sorry about that. So I can get it underneath my pocket here. So as you notice, I hope you've noticed, excuse my head. I cannot see where I'm putting my stuff here. That we do not need paper to go all the way into our pockets. So what I tried to do to design around this to use our paper to its best capacity is that's why you've seen a lot of 6-inch cuts, because in designing with pockets, because that allows you to utilize your paper better. I could continually cut and put a 7 3/4 by 7 3/4 inch paper in here, but then we would have much fewer pages. Okay, so there is that, and I'm pretty sure maybe I can find my, well, I have a mess over here to the side, so I don't know what happened to it. Well, shoot a Rooney. Okay. I can't find this piece right here. Now, and I had it. I just don't know where it went. This great piece, it's one of the postcard looking items that is going to go on the top here. And we're going to put this on the top. Oh, look at this. Found it. This is going to go on the top. And we're going, when we put this on, I want you to leave the space up here. And again, remember when I said we're going to go back and we're going to fill in all these spaces, we're going to put a trim right there. Now, remember on this piece, we have a magnet on here, so we want to be super careful when we go and burnish this down. So I'm going to open up my page and lay this flat on there. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. Come on, glue, come on. Sometimes you got to get a little help with the glue. Let's do our scribble work. Oh, if you could only scribble at work. Center that on there. Bring that down. You've done pretty close to that beautiful scallop border. Now careful when you burnish it, because here is where your magnet is, and put your finger on there so you don't like go over it and mac out your paper there. Okay. Not beautiful. Okay. Let's come back. Seems I found the paper for the pocket, which is 2 inches wide by 7 3/4. I start squeezing my glue in the middle first because I have a hard time getting it started in a brand new bottle, and I'll make a little bit bigger gobble, so that will help you if you have a brand new bottle of it. Just going to center that. Push it out with your hand till you're happy. Make that glue all squirt out on the sides. Okay. Now I have to determine what other my paper pages are. I have to remember because they're very specific of how they go. I believe, just a second here. I have to find out which one is the tallest one. I think that one. Whoops, I have 2 more pieces. That's why I'm like, where are my pieces? Okay, so this one right here, this is this cool map. Isn't that cool? This is again one that you that you've cut and you're going to use the other side. Now this has got some really cool seashells on it. However, my page is going to go like that, and that's why I decided not to use that page, because it's going in the wrong, it's going sideways, which again you could, but I just chose not to do that. So now on this one, we're going to take our tape off because we need to put this page down. And glue, scribble, 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 scribble. Whoops, almost forgot that. Gosh, do not forget to do that on your tape. Put your glue on there. Okay, so line it up. And right at the top, because I got mine so close, I'm going to make sure that was sticking down there. Okay, let me cover that up. Be careful of your magnet. You don't want to go ripping your paper. That would be devastating. Okay, let's just check it out. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now let me see my papers here. We have so many pieces. I think that one goes right up there. Nope, that one's too big. So does it go? I have to check it out here, so give me just a minute, because we do not want to put our pages on wrong, because what am I missing here? Do I have one extra? Oh, okay. This goes on here. That goes there. Look at that. Isn't that cool? This is going to go on here. That goes up there. And this one goes down here with this piece here. And that's where our pocket goes. So our pocket's going to go on the bottom flap. So let's go ahead and put our pocket on before we do anything else. And we're an old pro at this, so we're going to just glue the bottom first. I hope that's helping you guys. I hope that was a good tip for you. Remember, our we have that magnet right there, so be careful. That magnet is right on where we're putting our pocket. And glue that. Glue that. We're going to close it up and just kind of press it with our hands. Grab our lovely glued up plastic. Give it a good burnish. Good burnish. Stellar. Okay, this is just going to go right down inside there. This piece is a 6 by 4 1/4. This is on the other side of it. You could use it to have, but you are really covering up your balloons there. Gosh, have you ever been in a hot air balloon? I have not. It's kind of on my bucket list. I'm not really scared of heights, but that's kind of scary. I love, love, love old movies. So make sure when you're laying this down that you are not, that you remember that you have that 1/4 inch gusset there. You might be tempted to go and put it up closer to here, but you have that 1/4 inch gusset, and you want to make sure that you are not compromising that 1/4 inch gusset. Remember, you have your magnet down there, but you really are not, this paper doesn't even go into there. Here's our piece for the pocket. Again, this is a use other side. They're really close to the same, but this one has a little bit more words the way I cut it. I don't even know how that happened, but there's some very, very faint script in there, and it ended up being perfect. So that was really cool. So whoops. Again, I'm using the Stamperia Sea land paper. You can get it at J&S Hobbies. Appreciate it if you pop in there and order it from her. And say, hey, I'd love to make that album that Bonita's making. That's what we're here to help you to figure out what paper works. Let us help design with the paper, what we can do with the paper, so you can have fun. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put in on our flaps. So I'm going to start with my inside flap first. This is 6 by 4 3/4. Scribble, 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 scribble. You know, again, I think I told you, like when I first started making albums, my gosh, we use score tape for every single thing, including this, putting this paper down. And obviously that was a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of money. There's absolutely no reason to do that. I also have the ginormous tape gun, and you know, I'll use it once in a while, and then I'll get it and I just suck at using it, and then it makes me mad. So then I quit using it. So I kind of go back and forth, but glue is my favorite. So I put these two together. Isn't that great? Because it just makes that really cool, like all one piece. So again, this is 6 by 4 3/4. And I'm excited to have my photo editing thing, so there will hopefully be lots of measurements and everything on your screen for you that will help you along. This is one of those oh my gosh pages, but with me making it for you, it is going to be easy peasy. Okay. Now I have my top flap and the inside of my top flap. This is 5.5 by 4 3/4. I have a quilt show to go to this weekend I'm pretty excited about. I am going to go with my peeps. I have some incredible friends that quilt, and we like to just go to the quilt show and spend more money on stuff that we'll put in our closet that we'll make someday in our life. If I retire tomorrow, I don't think I could ever finish all my projects, including my paper I buy for my albums. Okay, so the top piece is going to be this cool map. This is 5.5 by 4 3/4. Just FYI, to make you feel better, I actually cut this wrong. Was very angry about it, and so you can't even tell. But I took a white strip of paper and I put them back together. You can't tell. So when you think that, oh my gosh, you're making mistakes, you know, I make mistakes and I try to figure out how to fix them. So that is just going to go right on top of that. I think this might be I don't know if that's the Horn of Africa. I am not good with my countries at all. My husband just totally laughs at me. We occasionally watch Jeopardy, and I am horrible at Jeopardy. I rarely know any of the answers, and he knows stuff that I'm like, why and how do you even know that? Okay, let's look so far. Ho, 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 ho. Okay, so we have one piece left that goes over where our magnet is, and so we are going to take off, whoops, these pieces. We're just come up in an hour. I would like to do one more page on this because I'd like to get, I think we're on page, are we on page 7? Yes. Oh, I forgot to tell you to write on the back of them, write top with a picture. Go back and do that with those other ones. Totally forgot about that. Okay, so, oh gosh, don't do that with your pen. That was not very clever. Okay, so this is going to go right up on here. This is 6 by 4 1/4. You know what's kind of cool about this? I don't know if that's cool. When you do my tutorials and you look at the time of the videos, and I'm going to put glue right on my stuff there, you'll know how long it takes you to make an album. So, you know, you can set aside like an hour, hour and a half to make the, you know, these 4 pages, and that's, you know, you'll kind of know what you're going to do. Remember, you got your magnet there, so be super careful that you don't like rip your paper. Okay. Oh my gosh! And remember, we're going to come back and we're going to put trim here. So here's our page 7. We have that. Now I've been to Cancun a few times, and when I have got one of these bottles that are filled with sand and shells, it's really cool. So here's our top. We're going to flip that open. Cool compass. Whoops. Let me get back here. There's a cool compass up there. Here we go here. This is a pocket. We have a flap here. Flaps, flaps, and a pocket. Remember what I say. Have your people fill up the photo mats, then the pockets, then the beautiful paper. Okay, so this one, again, the magnets go right on top. So let's flip this one over. Seems I forgot to tell you in the other two. Let's write top. This is page 7. Okay, let's move right along because I want to do page 8 before we call this one good. Page 8. I have to look to see what page 8 is even at, so I may have to like take a little sneak peek here at my designed page. Oh yeah, this one's got a lot going on too. We have a left flap and we have a right flap, and we have a flap that's going to go on top. Okay, so let's put our flaps on first. This is our base, our 8 by 8 base. What's I already matted some of my photo mats here. Oops, you know what? Let's fold our score lines. This is a really cool page too. I think all my pages are cool. The more flips and flaps that you can get. One of the coolest albums I have ever made, I made when I was down in Florida visiting my mom. I never gave it to anybody because it is so bulky. You wouldn't be able to put any pictures in it because it's already too big. So I need to redesign it and put a bigger spine on it. And I'm going to use some of those pages in my future albums for you guys. Okay, so the photo mats go up. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to the side of our album. I'll get my glue going there. And this one is the whole side, so we should be able to line it up. Get my pin out of the way, or it's going to get stuck on something again. Burnish that down. Here is my other. Did I already? You know, sometimes I do these ahead of time so they're done for you, and I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so this one's going to go on the other side, but I'm going to turn it because it's easier for me to work like this at this angle. So we're going to put my other glue. You don't want to use too much glue. If you do, your paper will get warpy. I'm just training my new bottle, so that's what's kind of hard. Okay. Make sure that's good with my finger, and then we're going to burnish that down. Okay, so we've got that already, that cool flap thing going. Let's prep our pockets. We're going to cut our corners. You guys are going to laugh. You're going to watch me. I'm going to, as we grow together as a group, you will watch that jar grow with these black things. I got to find something to do it. I just think that is the funniest thing ever. That will be fun. Fun, fun, fun. Well, it'll kind of be scary. Like, how many albums do you make, Bonita? A lot. My husband kind of laughs. I really enjoy it. I hope you guys find it relaxing and pleasurable to make crafts. I have 4 granddaughters. I think a couple of them might be crafty. My daughter never was. Well, that's not true. She made a couple quilts, but she never really got into the paper crafting. I think a couple of my granddaughters are going to be a couple artsy ones. But you can really do, I think it's relaxing, rewarding. The DIY people, you know, the homemade gifts are really, really, really popular. You can also sell them. I think some of the really cool things is I would love to get with a photographer and be able to make some albums for her. Okay, so our pockets are going to go on the outsides of our, open up your page, but they're going to go all the way to the outer edge of your flaps. So again, here's my book. I've opened it. I'm going to put my first one right here all the way to the right. Going to glue the bottom. Line it up there. So I'm going to try to move the camera view. Again, if you're struggling with your pockets not fitting, that little tip I told you, that instead of cutting like this one is 9 by 2.5, cut it like 8 and 15/16, and then go around and score ½ inch all the way around. It will make it just a hair smaller than your base page or your page that's going on, and that will help. If you struggle, some people are perfect. Some people are perfect scorers. Some people are perfect cutters. That will help. Okay, so I'm going to push that down. I'm going to get my plastic here. Burnish, burnish. Do that. Let's close that side up. Let's turn it because it's easier for me to work on the right. And glue that down. You guys are pocket experts by now. Pocket experts. Do that. Glue that down. Burnish that. Let's do our legs or the sides, whatever you want to call it. Again, this is such a pretty punch, you guys. I really highly recommend that you get it. It's petite, romantic. You'll be able to use it. I'm hoping I'll use it for you on a Valentine's album. There's that. Okay. So let's turn it back to the way it goes. Now, we are going to have a flap that goes on the top. And let me see, are we using our last magnet there? Let me see. So I have to think about where our pages go. So this is page 8. Page 8. Nope, we don't need a magnet on this one. Okay. So we are going to do our gussets, do our scoring, do that 1/8 inch gusset. You will get, if you're struggling with getting your scores, you will folding them. You will eventually get in habit of what a good way to do it. This again is going to go in the middle of your book, and now pay attention because you only want it to go up to that first score line. Because remember, we have this 1/8 inch gusset. You don't want it to go into the gusset. You want to go just to the first score line. So I'm going to open this up. That will make it easier. And we are going to center that down and put that down there. Sorry, my watch was like dinging or something. So I was at the Best. Oh gosh, I just threw that in my drink. I was at Best Buy yesterday, having them put a new plastic cover over my screen of my iPad, and I found out the new iPhones are coming out, and I'm like super excited. I'm a gadget girl, so I'm super excited about that. Okay, so I'm going to lay this and center it, press it with my finger, open it up, and burnish it down. So I'm going to show you this because I want to make sure that you can see this. Here's my white piece of paper. And there is just a gusset in between that page. See that? And where it goes, so because that's where the score line is. So you want to make sure that you do that. Okay. So we have all of our papers added on. Now let's put our paper, our designer paper on for page 8. Okay. Now let's start with the inside page. And oh my gosh, you guys, I will have you cut this perfectly so that when you set it in here, is that not to die for or what? Oh my gosh. Now I will tell you something that you can do, I did not do, but you can come and you can cut in with actually I'm going to do it. Oh my gosh, X-Acto knife. My mom has about 20 X-Acto knives, you guys. Every time she turns around, she gets a new one because she can't find her old one. I'm going to cut around. Let me get this out of my way. This is a mat. Do not cut directly on your table. I'm going to cut on this, around this wheel with my X-Acto knife. And I don't go all the way to the bottom. I'm going to go probably maybe about a finger's width. So I'm going to kind of put a little bit of a line there. And be careful with your X-Acto knife, please. And I'm just going to go cut around. Hopefully you can see that. And don't forget, you got to go up for this peg. I don't know what you call it. This thinger. I use the word thinger a lot. I teach my grandkids to say that. And if you have a little mat, it's cool because you can move your mat and kind of move your blade at the same time. And down there. This is really a cool thing that you guys can do. You don't have to do it. Don't panic. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I'm going to go around that other handle. And coming down, and again about that same width. So let's pop it out and let's see that. See that? Okay. And let me erase my little marks right here. Get rid of my lovely. I was pretty excited I could find both of those pieces of paper. Now, let's get back to our book. Now, when I go to put this down here, and this is 7 3/4 by 7 3/4, because remember our base page is 8.5 by 8.5, or 8 by 8, excuse me. When you glue this, you don't want to, now that we've cut it, if that's what you choose to do, don't glue here, you're going to glue. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of score tape right just below where my cut is at. See that? Right below my cut. So I'm going to glue and scribble all up here. I'm not going to glue this at all. I want to glue close to this though, you guys. I want you to glue close to that. You'll see that. And then I will probably glue just a little bit above that. So this will be an adventure. Don't panic. If you don't want to do it, you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. But you will so think this is cool when you see this. Okay, so let's get up here. Let's get our corners. Let's come down here because we got to do our sides. That's all the same. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to come around. I want to make sure I get close to, sorry, that is like you can't see it because it goes right back in place. So you see how I'm gluing right around, it kind of looks like an alien, doesn't it? That is kind of funky. Right around there. And so I want to scribble everywhere else. And remember, glue our tape, you guys. And then right above, just one little bit of rubber tape. Okay. Let's lay this down here and center that. Okay, let me put this lid back on here. I'm going to press this down, and you want to make sure you have that up out of there, okay? You want to get that glue down on those places there, underneath there, all the way around there. Now I should have, but just because this is kind of the nerd that I am, I'm going to take my ink and I'm going to go around. I'm going to go around that because that's just how I like it. And I'm going to go around on my page where it's cut as well. Okay, so here's what happens when you do that. Voila! Look at that. Cool. So again, if you feel uncomfortable, don't do it. If you like it, go ahead. You could actually, the way I have it, you probably could have cut it down just like maybe another little bit. And I don't think I can because I think it's glued down there, so I'm not going to cut it now. But you could cut right to these two side, oh my gosh, I don't know what you call those things. Handle fingers. Okay. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that cool? Perfect. If you feel uncomfortable, then just don't cut it. But that's just an option for you that you can do. Look at that. That kind of looks like an alien. Okay, so now let's take a look. We have all, look at all that. We have all this paper. Isn't that just unbelievable? These are for our pockets. I know that for a fact. So let's go ahead and lay those down. These are 7 3/4 by 2 5/8. And they're going to go on our pockets there. Again, when you design this, and I lay all this stuff out, and then I am coming to, I have to leave it apart, and then I have to remember how to put it all together as a puzzle. It's kind of crazy. I think what I might do in the future is take a picture of it and put it on my iPad, and so have that in front of me with my iPad so I know what I'm doing. Okay, let's go do this other one over here on this side, this pocket right here. And again, I used all the paper to, like, we have so little paper left, you guys. So little paper. That's why we're going to come back and fill in a few of those spots when we get all done. Good burnish. Okay, let's get this back on here so I don't, like, get it dried up. Okay. Okay, so now we have another incredible, gorgeous paper. That's going to go on the front of here. Where's my... That's going to go on the front of my album. our page right here. Beautiful scene, distressed looking mountain scene in the back, coast in the back, and your boats right here. So this is 5 3/4 by 7 3/4. Here's the other side. I mean, you could very well use this other side with your balloons half off if you wanted. So again, there's options for you on that one. So you feel free to use either one of those. Whoops, I hit my camera. Sorry about that, folks. Let's burnish that down. Okay. Our two side pieces are these. They are from two different pieces of paper, by the way, but they will go on your sides like that. Okay, so these are 4 1/4 by 7 3/4. And this is what's on the other side, you guys. And this is another one where I say flip it over and use the other side. You could sure use that rope. See? Whatever you'd like to do. I actually, I don't know if I started using my distress ink on that one or not. But that's the cool thing about this paper with double-sided paper. A lot of the times you have a couple different choices. And so what's really cool is that, let's say you and your BFF are working on this exact same album with this paper, which I hope you are. I hope. Call Jana's Hobbies, get your paper ordered because this is gorgeous. And you and your BFF are working on this, and you know, one of you uses paper one way, one uses the other. So you guys make the same album, but really in a few places you got your paper going a different way. So that's pretty cool. My mom, who loves to make albums from tutorials from Shelly and Shelly's group, and hopefully from her daughter. She does make them from her daughter. Loves to follow exactly, and she has made several exact, which is fine. I think that's super awesome as well. Some people like that because it's just fun to do. Oh, but you know what? Again, you can turn that paper either way, but because this piece of paper right here, either way you turn it's going to work the same way, but this is so cool. So this is going to go right here. It's 2 by 7 3/4. If you use the balloon one, you want to go this side and put it up, but I did not use the balloon. I used the other one because I'm going to put that down there. Boy, did I get that crooked. Man alive. I cannot tell whether I had my photo mats on crooked or not. Again, obviously you're not going to have your photo mats pre-put on there first, but I would have, on this page, I would have laid my photo mats down first and then put the strip on. So these photo mats are, I believe 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And again, all these measurements are going to be on the screen and in different locations for you, so don't panic about it. I'm excited about my software, and I keep saying that, but I want to make this great for you guys. That's my goal. But watch this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. It goes right across there. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we have one piece left for this session. Okay, again, this is a nice photo spread. And again, these mats, I will give you the size of these mats. I think this is a 4 by 6, and these are some smaller ones. I think they're 3 by 3s or 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. I will get you the measurements for that. So this is our last piece that we're going to put on. And look at that. Anchors away, kind of goes with the blue down here in the bottom. Good. Good, good, good. The other side is brown. It's the brown mat, and I think you'd have to put it this way if you, well, I'm not sure. I think it goes this way, but we're going to use this blue anchor piece. This is 7 1/4 by 6. Get our glue on there. Glue on there. And push that down there. All righty. All right, that's going to end this session. We are at 1 hour and 20 minutes, and we've completed 4 more pages. We have 4. I think we have 4 more to go on this, and then we'll have our pages done. So let's just recap this. Well, let's recap, and then we'll put our information on the back. Beautiful, beautiful anchor. Now, really, you could have cut this anchor out as well, just like I did that helm for the wheel. So that you could have slid something underneath there, but that is a beautiful piece of page there. Again, if we would have cut that out, see how we could have slid that underneath there, but regardless, a 4 by 6 photo will fit this way as well. Here we have a photo mat layout. We'll put some little flowers here that you'll be able to tuck your pages under there, or some type of decoration there. This is my favorite. Look at this was so cool when I figured this one out. And that goes, open this up, and I have a pocket. 2 more photo mats. Open that up. I love, love, love this. I can put my piece of paper, my photo underneath there, and then we have it in the pocket. Okay, there you go. That's the next 4 pages, and we will see you real soon. Take care.